Good morning, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group with your Monday morning index rundown. What I like to do every Monday morning is take a look at value area support and resistance. Every week, we get a new set of value areas that can be seen on the 1 hour chart, which really act as good support and resistance levels. So, I want to go over those. We'll start with the S&P. Actually, before I do that, let's bring up the daily chart, and let's just talk about last week's performers for a minute. One of the things that I noticed, which has been the outperformer in the last couple of weeks, is small caps. Right, small caps have been up, and they've been leading the market higher. They were up 2.2% last week. The Qs also did very well last week. They were up 1.1%, and the S&P, which was up, lagged those two indices, was up I think zero point 0.6 of a percent. So really where the outperformance has been, and kind of the leading indicator, has been what's been going on in small cap. So I'm going to go over those in just a second. Just to look at sectors last week, it was a pretty broad rally. You could see, the best sector performers: steel, robotic stocks once again, home builders once again, up almost 4%, and then you had some energy. You had the FANG stocks that were also did very well, and you had retail, also energy mixed in there as well. But you could see a lot of sectors up over 2% last week. On the downside, it was basically your defensives, and they were just a little bit less than flat. You had your utilities, staples, and REITs. So it was a pretty risk-on rally, considering how many groups were over 2%, and pretty aggressive and higher beta areas of the market outperformed. Same thing with international. There was only, I think, two areas that really got hit hard last week, which was Chile and Turkey. Everything else was basically positive, and you had some areas like the Greek ETF in Poland, Russia, Brazil, up well over 3% last week. So again, very broad rally as well internationally as well. Okay, so that was the last week's performers. Let's go ahead and dig into the indices. S&P, there's not much really to kind of spend a ton of time on here. We had an MACD crossover last week, it looks like, and we're up above the November value area. To keep in mind, we only have a few more days of November, but we're up above
Small
any
deal
any
here. Bizarre
resistance,
Voice says that Marlon will buy
and
the
we're
company
also
for
up
550 a
above
share in
the
cash.
short-term moving
Ticket
averages
there,
here as
BV.
well.
Shares are halted.
If we go to the 1 hour time frame, which again, this is new every week, we could see a new value area. Notice what we did last week. We started the week in value, and it didn't take us long to get going, and we remained above value for the whole week. So 2603 is that area to watch for continuation to the upside. And then support is down at 2589. Again, notice where we are inside the value area. We're right at the top. And for the day, for the 5 minute bar, it looks like we're also inside value. So right inside value, very narrow value area for the day, because again, these are all based on the last period. So this is based on Friday's market activity, one standard deviation around those price returns. So 2602 and then 2600. That's for the day, but really what I would be focused on is what I mentioned for the 1 hour. 2603 is the continuation that we would want to see in S&P futures. If we SPY, it's going to be very similar. It looks like it's 260 260 spot 47. Moving over to the Qs, again, we'll just start with the daily chart, and you can see kind of a similar looking story there, a little bit further extended above the November value area, but again, above all the short-term moving averages. Not much to really note there. You could kind of just say the trend is your friend, with the price way above, all the short-term moving averages. A little bit better picture in terms of support and resistance once we go to the 1 hour chart. You can see 156.34. That's also prices just inside of the week's value area. You can see a pretty wide value area again, because there was a decent range that we moved in last week. Again, Qs were up 1.1% last week, so a pretty decent size value area. So we want to see 156.34 for a continuation to the upside. If not, look for a move back to the point of control, which is 155.41, if we get a little bit of volatility around the open. 5 minute bar, I think, is going to look similar to the S&P, where we're inside value for the day on the 5 minute. So today's value area. That's going to be 156.32 for resistance, and then 156.01 for support. IWM, which I stressed in the beginning, we'll start with the daily chart there again. Big move from where we were just about a week and a half ago, below the 50-day moving average, which is the purple line of my charts. And then we went all the way through the value area very quickly. This one, you have a nice level of support, unlike the Qs and unlike SPY in terms of the daily chart. So 150.35 is your support level for IWM on the daily chart. And then similar to the Qs and S&P, we're also in value for the week. This one we're kind of we're sitting right in the middle of the value area. 151.59 is your area that you want to look for continuation to the upside, and 150.44 is what you want to look at to the downside. Again, really just go back to that daily chart for a second, but really some big outperformance for the small caps the last 2 weeks. And then just quickly to the 5-minute bar, which I think we're also inside value. So inside value for on all the shorter term frames, on the daily charts, SPY, Qs, IWM all above. On the 1 hour and on the 5-minute, we're in value. So it's kind of make or break. We'll see which way the market wants to go for this week. But again, sitting right inside value, we could have a little bit of chop until we get either below or above the value area. So that's it for the index review. One of the things I'll just mention briefly is we did come out with a new index. This is the first. There's nobody else who has this. We have a cryptocurrency and blockchain index that we developed over the last couple weeks. This is all equities in the space. This is not any of the currencies. This is not Bitcoin or Ethereum, or any of the other currencies themselves. This is the companies tied to blockchain. So I won't tell you all the companies that are in here because it's proprietary, but names like Riot, names like Square are in it, and a few others. It's 22 names that are in it. But look at the correlation between the index of the equities to Bitcoin. The index of the equities is this is the crypto blockchain equity index is the white line, and then Bitcoin is your orange line. So really nice fit there for companies that are moving up very nicely. Again, 22 different companies that we've put together in this index. If you want to know more, you could go to you could email us at info@tribecatradegroup.com. All right, thanks for watching the video. Have a great day.